3. Welcome, everybody. This is Dawn Weatherwax from Feed for Speed podcast. I'm the proud owner of Sports Nutrition to Go and Dawn Weatherwax Sports Nutrition Academy. And it's a big honor to have Mariah Denigan with us today, a well-known swimmer, known her for eons since she was 13, and now she's in college. So, Mariah, thanks for coming on board today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about how you got into swimming and what got the nutrition part thinking in your way as part of your journey in the swimming aspect of things.
Yeah, so I got into swimming. I think my grandma taught me how to swim at 3 years old. I was jumping off the diving board and like swimming straight like 5 feet to the ladder. But and then my mom got me into swim lessons, and my cousins who are now soccer players hated it, but I loved it and I wanted to stay in it. So my mom got me in a swim team, and it just went on from there. I stayed in the club, and I've loved it ever since. But I think just like as I got faster as I was growing up, I realized that there's a gap that needs to be filled through nutrition. And I was eating really well because my dad, he was he knew, he was an athlete, he knew how to properly fuel the body, but he needed an expert opinion. So we ended up visiting you, and it got us on like a better plan, a more detailed plan for swimmers. And so I think just like that is like the extra tool that I needed in order to fully get to where I am today.
Awesome. Well, let the people know, what were some of those goals that you were striving for, if you could remember back then when you first started? Because again, I think what you even pointed out, you were 13, and what were some of your goals at that point in time?
Yeah. So when I was 13, I think my goals were to be have the top times in the country for 13 and 14-year-olds, and also get my junior cuts at the time.
And when you came in, do you remember anything about that visit?
I remember getting like my metabolism checked, and like the bod pods, and that's about it though.
Yeah, I know, because it's been a while. Now, when you started implementing it, what do you remember, what things you noticed when you first started implementing it? Because you were a healthier eater. It was just fine tuning and making sure you were eating enough and getting the right amounts at the right times.
Yeah, I will remember this forever. But I my plan, and the first, like for breakfast, the first thing on it was 6 eggs, like 2 eggs and 4 egg whites. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I tried the 6 eggs once. Because for other options like the protein powder and oatmeal along with the eggs, but I tried the 6 eggs once. And I remember my dad like forced me, like I was late to school that day because I was like gagging on the eggs. Like I don't think I ate eggs for the rest of that week. I was like, I've had enough. But I think just what was better, and like I said, I was eating okay before. I was eating like healthy foods. I mean, like cleaner eating, but not as like healthy. So I remember the times of day where I was eating really helped me fuel myself and to get ready for my afternoon practice. So I think a lot of it is just like sometimes you could be eating the right thing just at the wrong time, and just like seeing like the specific times that you had planned out for us on our plan being like, okay, well, I should eat my pre-practice snack at like 2 if my practice is at 3. And I think just seeing that helped me feel better during practice.
Yeah. And we also had a goal in body composition because you were so young, and gaining some more lean weight. When I said that to you, or if you even remember, and I mean, we've been talking about that up until we were, just now, that we're finally at the goal, and we're finally like, I don't think we need any more lean weight. But it literally took till this time in your life to finally get to the lean weight that we have been working towards since you were 13. What do you how did you process that information? Because you were awful young, for those on the lean weights and body changing throughout this whole process.
I think I was a very like plan oriented person. So when I saw the but I think when seeing the plan and knowing, like, it's kind of just like trusting the process. Like, I trust my coach, like, that the practices that he writes are the ones that are going to make me faster. And so it was kind of just like trusting your plan and knowing that if I follow this amount of calories and I'm logging it every single day and staying disciplined with that, I knew that I would end up eventually getting to the point where I needed to be. And I don't think, like, even when I was 13, like, I think every plan, like every time I came in, I was getting leaner and leaner, and it was just because I was being disciplined and following the plan.
And it's not a diet. You got,
Right.
it's a guideline. And well, okay, so let's go back to 13 and 14 year. Did you hit your goal? How'd you finish?
Yes,
you did.
I remember getting my junior cut at that JO's, and my first ever, like, I got to go on my first ever team travel trip, which was to Minnesota. Not really a fun location, but I'll take it. But I remember getting the cut like 2 weeks before the meet started, and so yeah, that was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. And then you set more goals, and then we, kept gaining lean weight. What part of the process, because you're pretty seasoned at this, you implemented it really young, and now you're a freshman in college at IU. What if you were talking to people out there in this journey, because I'm just fortunate to have you, this long, and us still have a working relationship, and what do you think in this journey has been positive and pretty easy? And what do you think is sometimes challenging or continues to be a challenge?
I think I'll start with the challenge. So, like, especially being a freshman in college and like getting to any D1 school, you think that all of the programs have it all together, and like and so for me it was just like I was coming here and I was like, okay, I'll trust the nutritionists that are here. But the thing is that they don't have the history. We've had, like I've said, like, we've been working with each other for 15, and through that I realized that I operate better on like higher fats and lower carbs. But and they were telling me to eat more carbs here, and I was like, knowing my body at this point and knowing all of the information that I did, I fell out of it. But like I was saying, I was trusting it, and it just wasn't working for me. And don't get me wrong, like, I wasn't following it altogether, because there are a lot of emotional changes that happen your first semester in college. And I definitely I wasn't fit. I wasn't in a healthy spot mentally or physically. And so I finally was like, I realized this during like I was going through a back injury at the time, and I ended up like meeting with you and getting back on our schedule, and ever since then I've felt so much better. I'm at a so much healthier spot right now, And so, and like that kind of leads into like the positive things is like, it's like you're never really like, if even if you're like too far, you're never too far gone. It's like it's honestly just like a working progress and seeing what works for you. And now that I know, like, and I've been working with you for so long, now that I know what works for me, it's honestly just like, it's just second nature now.
Yeah, because the thing that helped, and just to give the listeners out there, when she says high fat, low carbs, um she's like at 40% carbs. I could just hear people thinking like, oh, you eat no carbs. And
No.
she eats carbs, people. But in the world of nutrition, oh gosh, it's just in books, and they say, oh, you need like 60% carbs for an endurance swimmer. And I've just never gone there with that. I just kind of when I work with people, and maybe days on a swim meet, we'll go that direction, because you can't eat tons of heavy fat right before you get in the water, like a chicken breast before you get in the water. But her breakdown was kind of like a 40% carbs, and her proteins were really good, and then the fats filled in. And we had the thing called muscle sound, so we could look inside her muscles. So we always had a good sense of, we experimented, and we were like, we've experimented. Mariah's really neat, because one time we had this year, it was, I think, your junior year, I'm trying to remember, and the coach wanted to go in one direction, and I just said, okay, well, we'll go there. I was hesitant myself, but I thought, well, we only have like so many months, and we can always change it. And I go, yeah, this is not working. It was not working.
Yeah.
You did not get the carbs, and your muscle weren't going in as well. And people just don't realize that carbs and fats are energy. So for you, it was like, we did not need 60% carbs. We needed kind of like a 50-50 on the fats and carbs, and healthy fats. She wasn't eating ice cream and all this jazz. And that, as you got through puberty, because before you still had some growing to do, and then you got through puberty, and again, I think a lot of females, and even guys, but more so females, when those hormones change, is that you have to be more mindful of added sugar, and that can create some havoc. So do you want to speak on the added sugar component of things?
And that is something that I have completely cut out these past 8 weeks, and why I'm in so much better position now is that even like the little snacks that they have ready for us, if you look at the sugar, they're higher in sugar. And for me, I realized that, okay, I need to pack some snacks and have some in my dorm room, and only have what I'm supposed to have, like only have my snacks that are on my plan in my dorm room, so that I'm not mindless. I know I'm not mindlessly eating anything. And so I cut out the sugars in coffee, and just like little things like that, like only like natural sugars during the week. And then if I wanted to have a cheat on the weekend, then it'd be fine. Just even on the cheat weekend though, like this past Easter, I went home and it was my first cheat in like 8 weeks, but I'm still staying within my calories that I have for the day. Even if it's 2,000 calories of meat, like crap, it's still only 2,000 calories. So I know exactly like how much sugar I'm having. And a big thing was the reason why I was losing and feeling healthier is because I cut out those mindless sugars.
Yeah, and her body really responded, because like you said, you were having some struggles, and then I'm looking at things going, just because somebody provides you something,
Right.
and I love that. I go, this is not like, if you start looking at the ingredients, you go, there's natural sugars in fruits and natural sugars in milk, but you don't, even as an athlete, those added sugars. Now, can you have added sugars around the workout? Of course, that's a sports drink, or you have a product sometimes you take post, right, which is really loaded with carbohydrates that they're really would be considered added sugars, but they're around the workout, and that's completely different. than just having snacks that they provide. That I was like, when we were looking at it, we were walking through it, I like, oh, and I saw the down on the bottom, because that was really neat how they provided that for you, because a lot of programs don't do that. But I go, yeah, that's a problem there. And they had you hire. And again, everybody's different, but we've been through and back, and we know really what works better for you. And for those two, she eats more than 2,000 calories. When you said 2,000, I just want people to know she eats way more than 2,000 calories.
Yes, I eat more than 2,000. It was just like an example.
Yeah, an example. I just, how people are listening. You are a role model. And they're like, well, she eats 2,000 calories. I'm like, oh, she's leaning out like way above.
No, yeah. But and one thing that like you have to realize, especially college freshmen, is that the snacks are really geared towards football, and football players can afford to have some of the higher sugar snacks. Because I have a brother, and man, my brother is allowed to eat 4,000 calories a day, and I am jealous. But because it's different. Boys and girls are completely different, and everyone has their own body type and things that work for them. And like I have friends that are girls that can eat whenever the heck they want and still look like a twig at the end of the day. So like wow. It's based off of your metabolism, and it's all personalized. So that's like, so some of the snacks that would be fine for others just weren't as good for me. And there are still options that I found. Like I've been eating like, I think like beef jerky sticks and cheese for my snacks, and those have been really good. Like they taste good, and they've been helping me during practice. So
yeah, it was just finding what they had and put the right mix, like optimize what was available, and then like put it together for you, right? To go, this is what I need. And I think you pointed out a big thing is really understanding what you need and not just mindlessly eating and you're not really sure. Because some people will argue, do you need to know how many calories you need? And I'm like, yeah, you need to know. Now, do you need to be crazy about it? No. But you have to be mindful, and you have to understand what that looks like. And then once you get that rhythm down, you're not sitting there counting calories all day. But that's also how it helps you put something together to be successful, like fine tuning the process. And Mariah does bod pods there. And that's another thing where that is, tell me what so a bod pod is it's an egg-shaped like chamber that measures body composition very accurately. Some people do DEXA, some other places do other things, but there's also some people's philosophies at the collegiate level that females really should not know their body composition, or maybe they do it once a month. And Mariah, you would get a kick out of, there's another swimmer at another school in college where that's their philosophy. And she had been doing bod pods with me. Oh, like you, like it's like something you do. And I know it's not for everybody, but what are your thoughts around body composition? How do you take it and how do you use it to your advantage and your, roadmap on how to get better?
Yeah. So I do my bod pods once a week, every Wednesday morning. And honestly, and people can tell me that you're obsessed with it. I'm not obsessed with it. I personally, I need to see the numbers so that I'm motivated. And if I don't have a good week, then it gives me it gives me more motivation to get back on track and get back going towards like moving in the right direction. And for me, like, especially these past 8 weeks, I've seen the numbers get better as I go, and I feel better about myself. Like I look better, I feel better, and like just all together, I'm like healthier. And so, for some people, like I said, it's personalized. It's for some people, they don't need to see their bod pod composition more than once a month. But for me, it does help me. It keeps me motivated, and it keeps me honest. I know where I'm at all the time. And it's honestly just more data. Like if I get one done before a competition, And I'm going from week to week, and I like, okay, I felt really good this week. Or like even with Dawn, like when I was competing at my best, I'm like, okay, I know what percentage I need to be at when I'm at my best. So I need to work towards that percentage. And that those are little things that just help me.
Yeah. And it was, and you didn't treat it as a negative. You treat it as information.
Yes.
And I also hear you saying, for those out there, it's just, you're like, okay, getting back on track. It's, as anybody knows, it's so easy to eat a little, like you eat some sugar, but it's just so easy, to eat more.
Right.
One extra, or, oh, I'll have an ice cream cone, but I'm not kidding. Like, or, oh, I'll have 2 tablespoons of Nutella. And I go, okay, it's scary, but that has 21 grams of added sugar in that. And then you throw that in with a Cliff Bar, that maybe that's healthy, but on the other hand, it's not around activity. And you go, well, that has 13 grams of added. Right. So now you see this added sugar going higher and higher, and it doesn't take a lot, right? But then you learn, hey, to point out to people, you feel better, you feel good, you don't feel restricted, you're not hungry, you're not starving yourself, you're really at a higher calorie. She's closer to 3,000, folks. So just to kind of get that out there, I just want people to know, like, she's getting leaner, and she's closer to 3,000 calories a day than she's. So that's how, just tweaking these little things, it's amazing how your body changes just with these little tweaks, but you can feel great and feel good. So would you add anything onto that? Or
I would just say that, like, it definitely gets easier as you cut out your sugar, then your protein bar tastes better. Like, it's like, I remember, like, my second week back with you, like this second semester of college, I ate my, like, think thin, I think it's like the chocolate cream cupcake. We used to fight over them, my siblings and I, when I was home. But I remember eating it, and I'm like, this tastes like a candy bar. Like, what the heck? This is so good. And so, like, for, like, as soon the more you cut off added sugars, the better your natural sugars, or just like less sugary things, taste. So
you're right, your taste buds change, and then so you can taste, like, the fruit tastes sweeter, the vegetables actually have maybe a flavor. Because if you really eat a lot of sugar, then you're expecting that every time, and it's a hard thing to compete with, because it really does override. But for those people out there, your taste buds do change, and they can, you will enjoy foods even more to get there. And so, Mariah, tell us some of the things that happened this year with your performance. So what happened this year with NCAAs, and then tell us about your open water experience, because I don't know if a lot of people know that you do too. You're very good at two, like, not just, I don't know what to call it, pool water versus pool and ocean water. I don't know, but tell us about what's happening, and then some. Let's start there.
So I think I said this earlier, but I was going through a back injury. So I competed internationally in Abu Dhabi, in it was an open water competition, and I did really well there. But I got back, and I found out that I have arthritis in my lower back, and I was out of the water for 2 weeks before Big Tens, which is our conference meet, and Big Tens is only like a month before NCAAs. But so I did not compete as well as I wanted to at Big Tens, and I wasn't healthy at the time. So it was honestly just like the goal for NCs was to be as healthy as I could at that time. And for me, I knew that I needed to lose weight. So I after Big Tens, I lost it in a healthily manner. Like I couldn't just drop 10 pounds right then and there between the 3 weeks leading up to NCs. So my goal for NCs was to just be as healthy as I possibly could. And I was satisfied with that goal. Like, I mean, I obviously was not happy with how I did, but it's honestly just more motivation for the future. But and then 2 weeks after NCs, I had open water nationals, and it was my best open water nationals that I've ever had, and I got second overall, which qualified me for international competitions this coming up summer. And it offers me a spot at World Championships in Budapest, which is like the biggest meet of this summer for open water swimmers and pool swimmers as well.
Yeah. And where's this one coming up in May? Where's the location?
Yeah, so at the end of May, I have a marathon swim series competition in Portugal.
Yeah, this girl, I need to sneak in her suitcase. She has been to more wild and crazy places since I've known her. I mean, literally, I'm just like, girlfriend, you're just going to all these cool places. She's going to Portugal, and I just get to sit here in Cincinnati, Ohio, so I need to swim in open water, and I will just stay alive. That will be my goal. But she's had such a world traveled experience. So that's pretty exciting. And your chances, knock on wood, is pretty cool. You're sitting in a pretty good place. So.
Yes. I'm excited for this summer.
I know. She's worked very hard, folks. Okay. And then next year, as we goal set, because my swimmers are very good at goal setting, what are some goals for, because we're going to one thing at a time. So let's go through this process that we work together with so she had a little blip with an injury and weight fluctuating up. And so fixing that to slowly set a goal. If you heard her, she was so positive. And trust me, she's had her ups and downs, but then it's like, okay, we got to regroup. We got to go back to where we knew it would match what she needed and do it in a way to get leaner. Literally is about fine tuning, right? Because you can't just cut, like she said, or you're just going to just put yourself in a horrible position. And she knows this already because she has the bod pod at her disposal there, which is so unique because, there's one of our athletes as another one in the West Coast, and they told him that if we had to do a bod pod for you, we would have to do a bod pod for everybody. How would you like that response, Mariah?
Oh my goodness. I'm so fortunate that I have.
I know. And then the other one is a female at another major school. And I'm not talking like they pay a penny, it's expensive where they're going. And they're like, nope, once a semester, because that's what we think a female can handle. And I'm just like, can we just treat people individually and find out? And some females, it's not good for. But as an athlete, I feel you either go, it's good for me, or it's not. And then that person can take the data and shove it away and keep it, within the nutrition and exercise phys department. It doesn't have to go to the coach. So yeah. So can you imagine them telling you that they have a bod pod, but because they would have to do it for you, that they would have to do it for everybody. I'm like, how many people are standing in line to do the bod pod? I don't know. Just my athletes who go away are like, I'm like, you got to tell him. And then he does it. And then that's his response. So where she's going is we know. So this is the thing about Mariah and us working together is we know her body, and it's taken some time. We have tried some things, but for the most part, it's still her performances went well. But here's the thing with her is we have a goal and we know what her body comp, and finally her lean weight is where we want it. So we now have a goal of how we can scientifically slowly get her leaner, and that's how on this side of the fence is the nutrition's in place. So you feel well, the muscles are full, you burn fat, but you're burning lots of calories, but burning fat and storing carbs. So we have a goal and she's working towards it. So I'm excited for May. With that being said, do you feel comfortable, and you can pass, but talking about what your goals are for next season for NCAA?
Yeah. So, at the end of like the biggest takeaway was like, okay, I did well at open water nationals, so how much better could I do if I was in the right spot? And so that's what's so exciting about next season for college swimming. um my goal for NCs would be to be an All-American in all three of my individual events. So I would swim 4 IM, 5 free, in the mile, and my goal is to place top 8 in all of those at NCAA's next season.
Well, it so yeah, so that's how swimmers set goals. If somebody's listening to this, they're not a swimmer. Swimmers are very good at setting goals, and that's how they thrive and get better. And then nutritionally, we just try to stay healthy. We're going to optimize what we know and keep going in that right direction, and staying healthy is a big deal. Mariah, would you like to share with what you used to eat and what you eat now, like where you were 10 weeks ago and
Yeah.
where you are today? Walk people through what you used to eat and what you do now.
So I did a lot of emotional eating like 10 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows that of the first semester of college is the hardest one. I mean, like everyone jokes about, oh, the freshman 15. Well, I had that. I had it, and I'm not ashamed of it now that I'm in a better place
Yeah.
now. But I was eating entirely too much. I wasn't aware. I didn't even know like how much a cup of rice was. Like I was just eating until I was full. And honestly, part of it was that like what I was eating wasn't awful for me. It was just I wasn't eating at the right times. I wouldn't be able to have a snack during the day if I didn't pack it, and I wasn't planning ahead. So then at dinner I would be starving, and I would just shovel down as much food as possible. So like at dinner I would have like I was having pasta 4 times a week, and that is entirely too much pasta. I haven't had pasta in the past 8 weeks now. Like I just don't have pasta anymore. But
It's hard to maintain portion control with pasta. So,
and like I remember when I was back at home and I would measure out my pasta, it was like I realized why I stopped eating pasta, because I could only get like this much of it for one serving. So
it's depressing. That's called pasta salad, and is on the
so
side, right?
it's so depressing. So I was eating pasta probably 4 nights, 4 nights, 3 nights for dinner a week. And then on top of that, like after my dinner, I would have a bowl of cereal. And the cereal wasn't healthy cereal either. I was probably like Captain Crunch and like Fruit Loops and stuff like that. I would have I was even hungrier, I would go back for 2 bowls. So it was just honestly so bad for me. And finally, like what I'm eating now is like I realized that I have to pack my lunch because of like school scheduling and stuff like that. So I've packed, like I have only like in my room I only have what is on my menu. So like for lunch I've been eating like turkey wraps and cheese and peppers and guacamole like every single day or 3 times a week. And for me like I need a monotonous thing, like to eat the same thing every day. And it that's what works for me. Like I don't typically have to switch it up a lot, because I switch it up when I go to like on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I go to the dining hall and have like a turkey burger for lunch instead. So and like for dinner tonight I had shrimp, a sweet potato, like a cup of sweet potatoes, and carrots. So just like cleaner eating. And then like after this call I'll probably have a protein shake with peanut butter, just
Yeah,
like
we're yum yum.
yes, exactly. So like and honestly this like the protein shake and peanut butter is like my favorite meal of the day. Like I look forward to it. So I'm just overall eating and for me I also measure out my food. A lot of people don't do that, but I like, and now that I have measured it, like I only measured it out for 2 weeks straight. And now that I've measured it out, I know what a cup of rice looks like. So I don't have to know like, and worst case scenario, I get a little less than what I'm logging, but I mean, it'll add up at the end of the day. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think you pointed out a good fact is that it's really good to understand portion size. And if you really do not know what they mean or what a half a cup of pasta looks like, because that's why we're joking, because literally you really will cry when you find out that one half a cup of pasta is 1 grain, because it's how I design the menus. And you're just like, well, she gave me 2 grains and a fruit. So that's 1 cup of pasta. And, you're like, wait a second, not what I'm mentally used to
Yeah.
when I have pasta. And then you balance it out, right? So you had your protein, which is your shrimp, which was really nice that they provided shrimp. Man, I don't know if I ever got shrimp in college. Like, man, I missed the boat there. And then, your sweet potato, great carbs, hopefully a little butter, some healthy fat on that or whatever. And then your vegetable, right? So your protein, your carb, your fat, it makes you feel good. It's wholesome. And then you come back and your core power, it has, good amount of protein. Core power also is a little bit lower in carbs. So that's where the peanut butter is the fat, and it has some carbs, but the peanut butter has some carbs. So it's kind of like, but by the time it's all rounded out, you got a carb, fat, and protein, and something you truly enjoy. And that's also important to find a balance, right? You got to find the balance of whatever you like. You got to find a way to fit it in. And Mariah I remember her, you even texting one time, I got to find something else. I need something, and you have to find those magic bullets of what you like. Some people, they don't care about chocolate. They don't care about sweets. They like crunchy. They like chips. They like, whatever. And other people would rather eat wings or a burger and fries. And that's their main bigger things, that type of thing. So, with finishing off, what would you like? I would like you to break this down. What would you like to tell the parents out there to your high school athlete, when you were a junior high or middle school athlete to high school? What would you like to tell those parents out there on how it can, not how it can be helpful, but what kind of tips would you like to tell parents out there that maybe don't know anything about nutrition, or how it could help their athlete, or how it could help, or how they could help their athlete in this process?
Yes.
What do you think?
I think the initial needs to be athlete driven, because at the end of the day, if the athlete doesn't want to be there, doesn't want to eat healthier, they won't. So honestly, I've had a lot of friends in the past that's like, oh, I get that text from Dawn, but I don't respond, or like, because I don't want to be there. And I was like, if it's not athlete driven, it's not going to work. I promise you. So and that's one thing, like when I was 13, I wanted to see the nutritionist, because I knew that that's what other fast swimmers were doing, and I knew that I wanted to be the best. If I wanted to be the best in the country at 13 and 14 age group, I needed to do what the best were doing, and that was seeing a nutritionist. So for me, it was all athlete driven. Now, with that being said, if the initial is athlete driven, my parents helped me a lot with measuring out my food and helping me plan out and like pack my lunch during the night, like at night, but the night before, so that I could have it all ready. And so my parents kept me honest in it. And so I think just like staying on your athlete if you see something is, but also don't be like overprotective of it, because it does need to be an athlete driven thing. And yeah, so that's one thing that my parents were really good at, is like finding that balance of like, okay, you want to do this, we're going to help you get there. And so yeah, that was perfect for me.
Yeah. And what would you like to say to those athletes out there that are middle school, high school, or I mean, you can even say college, but I would say let's stick with middle school, high school. What would you like to say to those athletes out there about why you think it's important, or what value you think it has. I don't know. Just kind of like now you're that age. You're telling them some thoughts there on your journey and that aspect on the nutrition. What would you like to share with them?
I feel like nutrition is, I mean, it's a huge percentage of what makes an athlete great. Any elite athlete will tell you that. I've gotten the privilege to be around Olympians and be like all of my friends. My friends are Olympians. Like I've gotten to be around people, and one thing that is in common with everyone is that every elite swimmer knows about nutrition, and if they don't follow it, they're working to make it better. And so I think that one thing that I would tell high school athletes is to just stay disciplined with it. It gets easier, I swear. The first week, I remember my first week, it was hell. It was hell, I promise you.
And she's been down this road before,
yes,
so
many times.
It's almost like a new territory for you, right? You kind of got off the railroad tracks because your support system, everything was new, right? The support system, what was provided, what's around you, tons of stuff there, right? To try to manage. So
I remember like my first week when I was 13, I was crying to my dad. I was like, this is not enough food. I'm starving. He's like, it's okay, Mariah. Like, it will get easier. I promise you. You just have to just be disciplined with it. And I think that's one thing that has changed these past 8 weeks is that I'm actually staying disciplined, especially like I lost my support system. Like, I mean, I still call my parents every single day, but they're not they're not cooking me meals anymore.
They're not packing your lunch, like, oh, here's your lunch, dear, and buying the groceries.
Right, exactly. So they're not here to watch and be like and watch me and like make food for me at all. But and so that's where like my discipline needed to come into check. Like they're not here holding my hand anymore, so I have to do it on my own. And I think that's what has made me like better and like blossom into like where I am now, is because I'm doing it on my own, but I'm also like talking to you more and talking to my parents more. So I have it's my own choosing of a support system rather than someone else choosing it for me. So it works out really well.
I mean, and I think you've come fruition, right? Because the also thing about college is, I mean, I think this was a good learning experience. If you're going to learn it your freshman year in college. Where sometimes you can be like, does it really work? Does it really matter? You know what I mean? Sometimes you might be like, this is what I've been doing the whole time, and I'm going to do this process. But on the other hand, too, there's all these options, and college too provides so much more time, because high school is literally every second of the day is taken up for you, right? You wake up, you might swim. If not, you sleep in those extra minutes. You go to school, you have lunch at a certain time. You get out of school, you're running around, eating a snack, you jump in the pool. Now it's done. You got your homework, you got to go to bed. Then you do that. I mean, and now it's a swim meet. So your time is so compacted, you don't have any time to be variant. But yeah, I do have that's my question to you. When you were there too, and that was happening a little bit, were you like, oh, maybe it doesn't matter that much? I don't know. Did you ever think like that?
Yes, I did. I will say. And it was more like teammates feeding into me, because like my first semester I was swimming best times and I was still going fast, but and I was like, okay, well, I don't need to watch what I'm eating. Like I'm still going I want a best time. This is the fastest I've ever been. And like even my teammates were telling me like, you don't need to lose weight if you are going fast right now. Like, and then my parents put it into perspective for me. They're like, well, how much faster could you be going if you were eating better? And I was like, you're right. I could be going so much faster. And like, because I honestly wasn't real. Like, I didn't realize I didn't know how I was going these times because I wasn't practicing fast. Like I wasn't hitting good times in practice. I just somehow could do it in a meet. And I think that's where like the natural talent came in, but it wasn't like I need to work hard and be faster at practice in order to see better results in the meet. So it's like, how much faster could I be if I was fueling myself properly for practice? And so that's something that I finally realized, like I'm going faster times in practice now because I'm fueling myself better. And so, and like, does it suck to watch like teammates eat dessert? Yes. Yes. But it gets easier as it goes. So
Yeah, and I mean, you eat and you get those. You're just moderating. Right now, she's in
right.
a different path. She's staying focused. She's got some
Yeah.
big things, and yeah, and you're kind of like, I got tunnel vision. I got to get to this May thing, and that's a big deal. I mean, gosh, you guys, she could make the world team of the United States. That's insane. So there's some big, you got some big goals in front of you, but
And that's one way. Yeah, that's one way where I'm different from a lot of other people. Like my a lot, please take your cheat day once a week.
yes, we need
Please.
our freebies, right? You don't be perfect, but
Right.
yeah.
And for me though, right now is that like when I'm on my own, I do lack self-control when it comes to eating sweets. Is like I and my mom, and it's like me and my mom were the exact same way in this aspect. Is like when we have sweets, we don't know when to stop. And so like I can't just have one Oreo because then I look at the rest of the containers and be like, oh my gosh, I need to eat the rest of them because they are all so good. But then like but for, and that's like a personal thing. So for me, it's better for me to not eat desserts right now as I'm working towards something. And but believe you me, when I'm done with world championships at the after a 10K, I will be having ice cream and pizza because that's like the end of the like what I'm working towards right now. So yeah, but like so yeah, it's definitely individual. Like for me, I don't need to be eating desserts right now because I don't know when to stop. And but for a teenager, and like for all the teenagers that are listening, please take your freebies once a week, please.
Yes, we need freebies, and
Yeah.
it's okay, and you'll be successful. She's just kind of like she said, she learned a little bit, got herself in a little bit of a pickle, and now she's back on track and getting herself. And I'm even excited for you because I feel like we're going down another path that's even better. It's kind of
Yeah.
exciting,
Yeah.
right? I'm excited to see because we have our numbers, and I really feel because you now know on your own like the portions and what it looks like, and when you see how it's shaping where you go, that's probably where, if we look back, maybe that's why we kind of fell short of some of our body composition goals. But swimming is not just about body composition, it's about feeling good and feeling well. But Mariah is such a high-end athlete that we set big goals, and so sometimes we're using that as a guideline to go. But I feel like you really have kind of taken it up a whole nother notch, and you're learning your body as well. Okay, last thing, because I asked a really cool question about, well, did you test the process and do I really need to do this, or it was okay? And now you truly know the answer is yes, because what is now happening in practice? What do you notice now differently than where you were?
Yeah, well, first, right now, compared to like first semester me, that didn't think that I needed to like eat
Even
good.
after working together for
Yeah,
5-6 years before that, but
God,
that's all right. We all
yeah,
have to stray and
we all,
find our own way. I'm giving you a hard time, but
yeah, God, I wish I could slap myself, but
that's
but
okay. I'm glad it's cool you learned it because it's just gonna fuel you
right,
from here on out. That's
yeah.
all.
I think it, like you said, it's opened up new doors for me, and now that I'm like all driven, like all athlete driven, it's even better. But yeah, so it's just
Your
it's
practices are like what now?
yeah, practices are so much better. Like I'm going faster during practice than I was first semester, and I'm just working back towards like getting my personal bests like in meets and stuff. So yeah.
Watch out next year in the fall.
Yeah,
that's down the road. We got some other big things in front of us. That's the thing about her. She's always juggling two totally different things. So she's always got some logs on the fire because of that. So I was always amazed where you went and how much time it took. So to do that. But yeah, we have maybe a world athlete on our hands in the end of May, huh?
Yes, hopefully.
Or getting there and then go to worlds, right? I'm always losing track. You explained it to me, but I'm sure I just said it wrong. So
it's just a complicated point system, but like because it's all new. But hopefully, like I'll know for sure by the end of May if I made world championships or not. But as of right now, I'm sitting in a good position for it.
And we're like because we're knocking on the walls because I think something like literally would have to like your plane would be delayed or so. I don't know. Like, and you show up 2 days early or whatever. Anyways, that's where I'm like, okay, something would have to be really off. But yeah. So thank you for spending this time, and I appreciate you and us working together. I have to say I did miss you that semester. You're one of mine. I worked with you so long. I was like, oh, I miss Mariah. And now we're back to working together. But thank you for sharing your story, because that's a tough one to sometimes go through, right? Doing really well, and then you hit a blip, and she still did great compared to somebody else. NCAA, she still like got to NCAAs, and some people, that's people's goals is to get to NCAAs, which is great. But just to see how the nutrition went, and then and where it's taking her today. So well, any last words before we sign off, Mariah?
No, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Have a great and healthy night, and enjoy your core power with your peanut butter. You'll have to take a picture of it so I can put it with the webinar or our Feed for Speed podcast. So but I look forward to keep working with you. And again, thanks for your precious time.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.